Hello there, this is News Review. My name is Lamin Jai. Coming up on the show, President Barrow's press secretary says the president's popularity remains high. Today, there was a press conference that was held at the office of the president. We have a report on that. Also coming up, high-level tax administration opens or summit opens in the Gambia. We have a report on that. Also, former information minister Amadou Skadred Jane donates items to inmates at the Mile 2 prisons. We have some of these stories. I was supposed to have Mr. Njaimane, but he spoke with me at the 11th hour, telling me he has an emergency. But nonetheless, I will start with the papers. I have the point, and I also have Foroya. Foroya today, or the point rather, it's reporting that Bazi banned from entering Gambia. Company shares forfeited. UK police may recommend deportation of Gambian rapist. Also, witness points finger at former CDS over April 10 shootings. Also, barriers to trade continue to limit growth. So the lead story there on the point is saying Mohamed Bazi has been banned from entering Gambian territory following the release of a 93-page report, an excerpt of the report of the Commission of Inquiry, widely called the Jane Commission, in which the government accepts a recommendation that that is Bazi, be declared persona non grata. Also, the point is reporting UK police may recommend deportation of Gambian rapists. United Kingdom, that's UK prosecutors, may recommend the deportation of a 31-year-old Haji Kaloja, a Gambian resident in Bradford, England, after he confessed and pleaded guilty to rape charges involving an 11-year-old girl name withheld. Haji is ordered to serve 13 years in prison. Also, witness points finger at former CDS over April 10 shootings. Yusuf Mbai, who testified before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission on Monday, disclosed that the former CDS Babukar Jatta disappeared during their negotiations with the paramilitaries, and after his disappearance, the paramilitaries started shooting live bullets at students who were demonstrating on April 10, 2000. That will be all for the point. Foria now is reporting TRRC, that's witness links parents' death to their son's demise. 1,026 diplomatic passports issued in 2017 and 2018. GGC, that's the Gambia Ground Corporation, purchased 7,500 tons of fertilizers in 2019. NCCA engaged citizens on tolerance reconciliation. Government adopts recommendation of Janet Commission on Amadou Samba. White paper decision on former GPA Managing Director ML Jiba. Stakeholders review draft freedom of information bill. So let's see what Foraya is reporting. So Foraya is reporting on the diplomatic passport issue there. It is saying that Mamadou Tangara, Gambia's foreign affairs minister, on Tuesday told legislators at the Foreign Affairs issued 578 diplomatic passports in 2017. He disclosed this in response to a question raised on behalf of the Combo South legislator Keba K. Barrow, who was not in parliament. So that will be that for the papers. Now I will bring you some of the stories we have today. State House Press Secretary Ami Bojan Sissoho has said that President Adama Barrow continues to be popular among Gambians. Bojan Sissoho stated this while parleying with Gambian journalists at State House on Wednesday. This is what she said.
First of all, with regards to how popular he is, can only be done with a survey. And the last time we had a survey by the Barrow, Afro Barrow, I think the figure is out there. He was rated high in terms of how people perceive him.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm going to replace my AfriCell 3G SIM card.
Why use a 3G SIM card when you have a 4G phone? Replace your 3G SIM card today for the real AfriCell 4G SIM and receive 1 GB of internet data for free.
Really?
Yes, get 1 GB for free.
So still on the State House press conference there, as Ami Bojan Sissoho has also rejected claims that the presidency's communication team, which he helms, is incompetent. Mrs. Sissoho says she and her team are doing their best as President Barrow's communication officials.
With regard to his communication team, for us as professionals who are working as communication officers in the office of the president, the first thing we look out for, what are the facts we have? Do we have enough information to go out to the public? Why do I have to call all these media houses just to come and stand here and not give them any information? So for us, we only communicate when we have relevant and factual information that we need to communicate to the masses to, then they will share it. And maybe it depends on how you see communication, because almost every day from the office of the president, you either have a press release or you have a social media post indicating what is going on here. And that is different from the other efforts we are putting together. Every 6 months, we try to produce a 6-month newsletter to give an overview and a historic context of what is happening so that people will have access to this information. Apart from that, we are trying to do interviews as much as possible. We reach out to the local radios whenever they call us, or when we feel that we have something to share with them, we go out. As far as I'm concerned, as head of that communication unit, what I will not involve in is speculation and rumors that are not fact-based for me to come and start defending things that I would consider irrelevant at that point in time. Secondly, I will not go into issues like when people have information on an issue that is in a process and that process has not reached my office. Because my office comes in when a final decision is taken on an issue to inform me this is the decision, and then I will be able to communicate that to the public. So it depends on who sees how effective our communication is and how it is not. But as far as we are concerned, we are putting in all our efforts. Even the fact that we want all these media houses to be coming here to listen to what we have to give them is a way of reaching out. So it depends on how you see it, but from our own perspective, we have been doing a lot to ensure that there is visibility, the voices of the president on issues are heard, and when they are relevant and important, he comes out to say them.
The Gaitaf Special Economic Zone is a 160-hectare mixed-use business park strategically located within the boundaries of Banjul International Airport, the Gambia. It is the only economic zone located within an airport in West Africa. Gaitaf Special Economic Zone is segmented into 4 separate zones: Commercial Zone, Industrial and Light Manufacturing, Logistics and Warehousing, Residential Zone. It is a highly secured economic zone with top-notch infrastructure, with eco-friendly buildings and beautiful landscaping. With attractive incentives and access to a pool of labor within the Gambia and the sub-region, the Gaitaf Special Economic Zone has already completed warehouses available to investors. Located less than 30 minutes away from the international seaport of Banjul, investors in the Special Economic Zone will enjoy a unique proximity to major markets around the world, including Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. For additional information, please visit www.gaitaf.com.
Ami Bojang Sisohode rejecting claims that the communication team at the Office of the President is incompetent. So now, a high-level summit on tax administration opened at Coco Ocean Hotel today, bringing together stakeholders drawn from tax administrations, ministries of finance, academia, and even civil society organizations. The two-day meeting seeks to chart a path for the formulation of sound domestic resource mobilization policy frameworks under the West African Tax Administration Forum. Fatou Cisse witnessed the opening ceremony today, and she now reports.
Summit opened at Coco Ocean in Bijilo on Wednesday and seeks to chart a path for the formulation of sound national domestic resource mobilization policy frameworks in the West Africa sub-region. The Gambia's chief tax official is confident the event will be a success.
WATAF has, since its inception in 2011, provided a platform for West African tax administrators to cooperate and actively promote improvement in tax administration within the sub-region. In particular, the forum has provided support in capacity development in key tax administrative areas, such as taxpayer education, countering tax evasion, aggressive tax planning, tax avoidance, tax audit, and human resources management, among other things. It is our hope that the thought-provoking and exciting topic highlighted in the program of activities will be deliberated extensively by the panelists, delegates, and participants, and the outcome would set the agenda for the sub-regional as it strives for the effective and efficient revenue mobilization in ECOWAS region.
The Barrow government says the WATAF meeting is relevant to not just Africa's development agenda, but also the Gambia's national development plan.
Today's choosing topic of discussion is in line with the theme, are all very relevant in Africa development agenda and in the individual agendas of WATAF member states, but more so to the Gambia's National Development Plan 2018 to 2021. The AU Agenda 2063 and the UN Sustainable Development Goals aspires to achieve, among other things, sustainable development for Africa, good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and rule of law, an Africa that is peaceful and secure, an Africa whose development is people-driven and relying on the potential of African resources is what we want in Africa.
The Gambia government also says it has made positive strides in revenue collection thanks to WATAF.
The Gambia, one of the smallest economies in this forum, has made good use of the invaluable support it received from WATAF and other development partners, such as the IMF, ATAF, WCO, WTO, and the World Bank, especially in the areas of capacity, development, and reforms. And as a result of embracing implementing these reforms has been visible in terms of the year-on-year nominal growth of our revenue collection. Since 2006 to date, the Gambia Revenue Authority has registered an average annual revenue growth of 10.5%.
The West African Tax Administration Forum, according to its proponent, is the product of conviction within the West African sub-region of tax administrations to cooperate and actively promote in the discharge of their mandates. The two-day event is being attended by delegates from almost all countries in the ECOWAS sub-region and will end on Thursday. Fatou Cisse reporting for the Fatou Network News Review. The harsh prisons conditions.
Dr. Amadou Skatet Jane was a resident of Mile 2 in 2012. But on Tuesday, September 17, the former information minister returned to the state central prisons, not as an inmate, but as a benevolent donor. Dr. Jane and his friends donated items as well as cash to prisoners at Mile 2. Fatou Cisse was at the event and she came through with this report.
The harsh prisons conditions under dictator Yahya Jammeh has put Dr. Jane in the position of better understanding of the daily realities of prison life and has now become a constant visitor to the people behind the walls in an effort to contributing to their welfare. And as while Minister of Information in former President Jammeh's government, Dr. Jane was incarcerated at the state central prisons for organizing a revolt against his former boss for several months before his release and subsequent flight into exile. On Tuesday, he extended a hand of help to the prisons and prisoners by donating items. Speaking at a ceremony organized to hand over the items to prisons authorities for onward distribution to inmates, Dr. Jane recalls.
I was not tortured physically, luckily. Of course, I went through a lot, but not in the hands of prison officers before I got to them. I was picked up by the police, PIU, and I guess from what they say, executive order, I was moved all around. First to the old airport station, airport terminal, where I was kept for 5 days at a previously unknown detention facility. And then I was moved around to Brusubi police station for 2 nights. I was brought here for 1 night, and then to Bambadinka at Joshua prisons. I spent about 7 months there. That was the very difficult part. It didn't involve physical torture, but the conditions were very horrible. I don't think they're putting anyone in those cells anymore, but the conditions were very unbearable. I did even complain in open court that I was getting soaked throughout the rainy season. I was not allowed to read, and I rarely had any visitation. The U.S. Embassy tried very well, and I had occasional visits, but that was Bambadinka before I was brought here. When I was convicted, then I was brought to, I think it's building number 5, right? Yeah, I was brought to so-called Kampama.
Dr. Jana was joined at the event by the mayoress of Banjul, Rahim Malik Low, who said she was also committed to supporting people behind bars.
We are going to do our level best to make sure that we will participate at least the little we can. I just want to plea to everybody outside, and say, please come and help, These are people that sometimes I call them innocent, This is just somebody, maybe 1 or 2 people will just sit down and decide their fate, So you never know, it's only God who knows.
Prison officials were receiving the items thanked Mr. Jane for the gesture.
This gesture is very, very good. They say it's good to help people, but I think it's good to help needy people. I can afford a bag of rice. You give me a bag of rice. Yes, I will take it, but I can afford it. But there is nobody who can be more needy than somebody who is behind bars.
Tuesday's event is expected to inspire any Gambian who wishes to support inmates in the country's prisons. Fatou Cisse reporting for the Fatou Network News Review.
Dominique America wala Europe wara yónnee mobile muy jël ay weer Smartphone House ñëw pour rek noppal leen looy def rek mooy nga def payment ñu deliver phone bi tey.
Salaamaaleykum. Maaleykum asalaam. Man de sama jëkkër moo ma boole ak yéen. Mohamed Ndiaye.
Mohamed Ndiaye.
waaw Sweden.
maa ma waxamoon tey si suba.
waaw daf ma call suma téléphone bi yaaxu mu ne ma demal Smartphone House ma ne ko waaye loolu gaaw na ni mu ne ma demal rek.
moom utal na la fi benn. mooy iPhone 8 Plus.
Masha Allah.
ak Smartphone House emuñ ci jaay mobile rek waaye dañuy jaay computer ay yére ak daala yi nga xam ne rek original lañ ba tax nag ku bugg a xam fi nga xam ne mooy Smartphone House da ngaa dem Kairaba Avenue opposite fi nga xam ne mooy Barcelona shop.
So, like I said earlier, Mr. Njaimane was supposed to be my guest, but at the 11th hour we spoke and he told me that he had an emergency. So, but then with that we will come to the end of today's show. We will be back tomorrow. Until then, my name is Lamin Jai.